and today is my presentation. So after watching Garbage the movie, and I'm very interested in packaging, especially our packaging. And today I'm talking about some problems of our packaging, and in the TED Talk, the speakers figure out the solution that you can use mushroom to build a new plastic for packaging. And last month is we got Mid-Autumn Festival, and this festival is very important for Chinese and Korean. And we also eat mooncake in this festival. So I mean, I will receive lots of mooncake in this festival, but it already confused me because the packaging, like this packaging is very delicate, and but I can just see a few of mooncake in there, and I mean if I have nowhere to put it boxes, I will throw it, and I think it's very waste material. But the good thing is this material was made by paper board, so it can recycle. But for another packaging is called styrofoam, like the white things. I mean, this things was very bad, and it's especially not good for environment. And I mean, if you buy a TV in Amazon, they will use this kind of packaging buffer was made by styrofoam. But I mean, you cannot use when you get the TV, and you can just throw it. But I mean, this kind of material, it cannot dispose of in environment, even though it's recycling by, cut by very little pieces. It can still, it cannot still dispose of, and it will still maybe 1,000 years in our environment. But I also found some interesting things. It was exhibition shows in Boston in this year. All the exhibition was made by styrofoam, and I think it's in July. Yeah, and I think it's a good way to maybe deal with the problem that how to deal with styrofoam. So today's TED Talk, the speaker's named Ibn Bayer, and the topic is Are mushrooms new plastic? So there's 3 questions. The first one is, what are the 3 principles that we can use to get better materials? And the second one is, why recycling is missing materials, and what kind of things we can get resilient. So for the discussions questions is, can you imagine any problems by using resilience product? So this is mycelium, and it was part of mushroom, and you will understand it very clearly in the TED Talk. Can you ask it? Oh.
It's feedstocks, low energy cost, and eco-friendly.
Yeah, and also, did anyone understand? I mean, okay, for the second questions.
Can you say the questions?
So
we can hear you speaking?
I mean the first.
Can you ask the question?
Oh, yeah. So you mean the first?
So ask the question. Why?
Alright. Why mycelium is an amazing material, and what kind of things we can get mycelium? Do you know?
So he didn't say exactly, but he showed us. So, in my understanding, mycelium is an amazing material because it replaced the one of the most toxic materials in the earth. That's the why mycelium is an amazing material. What kind of things we can get mycelium is that you can produce styrofoam style, like what is it, how do you call that, molding. You can actually mold the mycelium to create the kind of frame holder instead of styrofoam again. That's, I think, we learned today.
Yes, actually, mycelium is kind of material that can self-assembling, and in the video we see that around the world they can use their agricultural byproduct to get the mycelium, whatever it mushroom. It not have to be the mushroom. Yeah. Alright, so for the third question, can you imagine any problems by using mycelium product?
Plate?
Sorry?
Plate, forks.
Plate fox? What?
I mean the plate.
A plate?
Yeah.
Yes, we can. Yes, this we can maybe
But
use
that's
this
not
with food.
she's asking, so
Imagine.
problem.
I'm wondering that it can maintain its shape because I saw its fiber is growing up and the color has changed. So I'm wondering it can maintain the shape and the color at the same time. But when we make some products which has some color or emphasize the natural colors of it, but when times pass, it can be changed. And
I am very concerning if you use this material. One problem is that this kind of like styrofoam, it's disposable. It means that it holds your materials over 2-3 years without a problem. So for example, let's say I made the iPhone and I want to packing this one. The reason why I would use styrofoam because it holds it there and it doesn't dispose. Okay, the question is this: is this material actually doesn't dispose of? I mean, is this material holds my product more than 2-3 years without any problem? Because this is living things, I think. Still, this material is still living. So the problem is that is this affected by the environment? For example, what if it is humid? What if my store is humid and I want to put my TV in there? Is it gonna affect my product?
It would be funny.
Yeah, you should.
It would be funny if you opened the box and there were all these mushrooms growing around it.
It's totally covered my TV.
Yeah.
It's so funny actually. I mean, it could be fun, but my question is, so like that's the problem you need to solve, or you need to find it out in the research setting?
And actually, I mean, I don't think this material can waterproof. I mean, if there was raining, it's more easy to grow something. Yeah.
Actually, I don't think this is a question because actually I think this kind of material is just using for something that only used for one times, and if you want to just keep it like for over 2 and 3 years, you only need to dehydrate it. So it's not a problem actually. I don't think it's a problem.
Dehydrate?
Dehydrate.
Oh.
You can just
I don't-
actually kill the mushroom to make it.
I don't know. Just like to be honest, I don't know how does it work still.
Yeah.
But just that was my question.
But I mean, these materials can also develop because in the video, the speaker has already said that these materials are they can you can made by lots of different kind of like they are insulating and fire resistant or moisture resistant, and maybe in the future it can develop more.
A lot of possibilities.
Yes, more.
You can even create those kind of like words.
Yeah.
You can create a lot.
Good.
Amazing.
One thing that I'm thinking about is he's talking about oil as being part of the problem.
Yeah.
And so if we're using better packing materials, that means we're still shipping products over great distances and without much change. You know, I mean, I guess you can't solve all these problems, but it is still supporting using materials that you just throw away. You know, it's still in our minds
It's
that we
still
can
kind of
use
waiting.
something and throw it away.
Yeah.
Because what has happened to us as people is that we've gotten into this mindset of just throwing things away. We're wired like that. It's almost like, you know, if you have a question, the first thing you do is you go here, right? You don't ask a human being anymore. You go here. So you're wired to this thing, and we are also wired to just, you don't want it anymore, you just throw it away. But this isn't how most people interacted with objects throughout most of human history. You would hold on to things or take care of things. And so, you know, so there are two concerns here. Are we still shipping objects from China to the United States, and we need the packing materials because the objects are traveling such great distances, and what is the energy resource that's supporting this travel? And then the second concern is you're still packing the object in a lot of material that is designed to just be thrown away. I thought it was more aesthetically appealing, but that's also a concern. You know, like he says, is it the new plastic? Well, is plastic really, if we think about our lives as art and we're interacting with objects on a daily basis, you know, could we do something more beautiful than that? Because the historical precedent of that was a glass.
Yeah.
And a glass is more beautiful than a plastic cup.
Yes.
And when I first started working, there would be glassware on the table during a meeting, not a bunch of plastic bottles. So it had a more formal.
And
Yeah, and I still remember it. It was a long time ago, and I still remember that detail. I'm not throwing it away. So, what do you think of that? What do you think of the throwaway society and the great distances of moving objects over great distances and then just the physical appearance?
So rather than throwing the mycelium out, like, or if you can change the form and then reuse it.
Yeah, like what could you do that might be useful? Which would wire us to think about a new use for everything that we're interacting with.
Yeah, I
something.
he mentioned that, after you get the package from this packaging, for instance, he said that you can actually use this material, not throwing away, reuse it as a soil. I remember he says that, which is very good, I think. That's what I like this about. You don't have to think about this is throwing away. It's actually helping your neighbor, your environment. Actually, if you have for instance, if you have a backyard, you don't have to throw this away. You're actually giving the extra soils on your garden. That's good. Which means it's reusable somehow, and which is actually affecting on your local system. I think therefore I like this idea the most. Or I think that's the most important here. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be really great though if you could water it and it turned into mushrooms and you could eat it?
That would be great.
Seriously.
No, it's not good. I can't eat it.
But that's the thing. Why wouldn't you
Yes,
eat it?
it's gross. Oh my god. I don't know. I just feel it's gross.
What is the cause of the gross effect?
Because
What-
of
Industrial making, I don't know, and it's reproduced something. I don't know. I just feel.
But how is that
It's kinda
different? How is
not-
that different from ramen noodles?
I don't know. Actually, it's probably the same thing. It's carbohydrate, I think. Probably. I don't know. But I ain't gonna eat
it's
it.
it's simple. I think simply I can answer it. For example, let's say I use it. You never know whether this is a clean item or not. If I make a package based on this idea, you never know, and it's actually attached to my dirty plastic materials, and I don't want to eat the stuff that which actually touch the plastic material. For instance, that makes sense.
That's interesting. What is the iPhone made of?
I don't know.
It's made of plastic, and it's in this organic material, packing material. And you don't want to eat the organic packing material because it touched the plastic.
Yeah.
What if the iPhone could be made of the organic packing material, and when you're done with your iPhone, you eat it?
No way. There are electrons here.
Then I'm not gonna buy, I think,
Yeah.
because there's no sustainability.
It's not sustainable.
Eating your iPhone when you're done with it isn't sustainable?
No.
In my
It's
opinion,
not-
the reason why I say sustainable is regarding the okay, let's say I invested on my cell phone. Maybe it could be used for business. It could be used for just communication. It could be used for somehow. The main idea is this. I think if this is made of this material, for instance, maybe I'm not gonna buy it because you never know when it's gonna be broken. I cannot build. There's no trust yet. Which this scientist, or I really didn't get it whether he's a scientist or inventor. This inventor need to give us trust for business purpose, which I don't believe yet. For this much sophisticated using as a sophisticated material.
You trust this less than you trust plastic?
And this.
Did you ever feel like you trusted plastic?
I think you remember when the plastic came out, the reason why people were so crazy and they thought it was great material because one thing, it didn't break such easy as the glass. It's transparent, it didn't break that easily. So people were like, wow, so if I have a plastic bottle and plastic cup, I just eventually it hit the ground, it doesn't break. Everybody, wow, this is amazing material. That is a kind of a sustainability. There is some kind of sustainability, I think. However, there's always good and bad. Plastic actually is killing us. So I don't know what's the right.
Hey Jay, would you eat your iPhone if you could?
Oh, no. No. It will be dirty.
Okay, thank you. I think that's very hopeful.